Welcome to the Bright Star Lifestyle Podcast, where we say yes to joy. Good day, Bright Stars. Today we have a second conversation with Mario Rosseau, one of our Bright Star facilitators with a very special life story. Last time we spoke about Mario's love for studying because he had a lot of interest, and whenever I hear Mario's always learning more and giving his family opportunities to learn and grow more because he really has a passion for learning. He's got a diploma in ministry and theology. He's the founder of the Blueprint Trust, and he's also making a difference with community development through the Pakamisa Africa NGO. Mario is happily married with Tasha. I do believe still happily married, and he has a beautiful daughter, Phoebe. So Mario, I would like to ask you to share a little bit with us on your relationship with your daughter. Whenever I see you, whenever I hear you, there's always stories about her. Do you experience that she's proud of her dad?
Yeah, thank you, Amanda, for having me back here on the chat. Yeah, definitely. There's something happened last year. So I usually take her to school and then I'll go pick her up. So usually when I come to pick her up, she would ask me, Papa, what did you bring me to eat? Or so I usually come to school with a snack or something. And so last year, December, when I went to go pick her up, she gets in the car. She gives me a look. She says to me, so now I'm thinking she's going to ask for something. Now she says, oh, Papa, can I ask you something? I said, yes, you can ask me anything. You know, very dangerous for a father to say, ask me anything. And she says, I want you to come to my school and I want you to tell all my friends that you were a gangster and that you were in prison, but that God saved your life. And it was like that proud that I want you to come and tell my friends where God took you out and that God saved your life. And I was totally blown away in terms of how she sees that hope in me of where I was and what I am today. So yeah, that was just one of those moments where I just literally really felt just proud to be a father. And I always prayed before I met my wife and everything. I prayed for years that God would give me a family, because I felt that I grew up without one, growing up without my mom and without my dad and living on the streets. I always asked God for this one request, and I said, God, I just would love to have a home of my own and a family of my own. That's all I want. I'm not asking for richness. I just want to have my own family. And then God blessed us with this beautiful, beautiful daughter. But it was not always like that. And I mean, since she was born, every week the two of us have a date. I would come home, take her in the pram, and then we would just take a 2-hour walk. And so as she grew up, I would take her for ice cream every week. And so our relationship just started to grow out of that. And so in the morning, very special time, we are driving for like an hour to school in the morning. So it's a time for us to chat and to connect. And when she comes back from school, tell me all about her day. So yeah, I think we have a really good relationship.
Mario, when you share that, it really touches my heart, because I saw the other day when we picked you up for a trip that we had, a Bright Star program that we were out for a week. She was kind of disappointed, and I thought it was because she's going to miss her daddy. But then I also heard it's actually because usually she goes with you when you go for any outreach or something that you are going to do for others. And I love that to realize you actually raising her up with the concept that she's part of your ministry and part of what you do. You are very involved with the World Needs a Father and are also one of our Bright Star facilitators for the Legacy Dad project. Is it possible that you can share a little bit on your experiences of how do the fatherless nation that we hear about, how do you see that? What do you see in prisons? What do you experience with young people and the connection with their fathers?
Yeah, I think I can just take, if I just take my own life as an example. The one day when my daughter was she was probably about 3 years old, so I took her for a walk here in the park here, Nature Reserve Park. So I took her for our first official walk, and she asked me. We just started walking. What's this? The Janis Maree Park. We just started walking, and she stopped and she asked me, "Daddy, why do we have to walk?" So now I said, so that we can have a relationship and we can talk about stuff. And so now she shakes her head. She says, okay, walk a little further. She stops again. She asks me, but why do you want to have a relationship? So I said, so that we can talk about anything. You're going to grow up. You're going to talk about your studies. You're going to talk about boyfriends, husbands, all that stuff. So we need to lay the foundation here. Now she walks a little further and she stops again and she turns around. She looks at me. She asks me, so did your daddy also do this with you that we're doing now? And so I said, no, my daddy never did this with me, but this is why we are doing, because we are creating a different culture for our family. And so I'll take my own life as an example of the fatherlessness, because I grew up having a dad. He was there, but he was absent. He was not there. He was blown out, totally alcoholic. We had no relationship. I couldn't even call my dad. We would just acknowledge one another as father and son. And on one occasion when I was on the streets, I was about 15, 16 years old at the time. And I was living with one of my friends at my friend's house at the Shebeen. And so this one night, my dad comes and he knocks at the door. And so now I opened the door. I immediately see this is my dad. He looks at me, asks me, can I have 2 beers? So I look at him, I says, do you know who this is? He looks at me like for a couple of seconds in my face. And then he shakes his head and he says, no, I don't know you. And it was like somebody ripped my heart out of my chest. And I said to him, come in. And I was so angry. I said, take as much wine as you can carry and just get out of my life. And I wanted never to see you again and never have nothing to do with you again. And so he walked out. And I realized the pain of the disappointment in a father. And kind of like you have no identity, you have no security, and you have no sense of belonging. And so for me personally, all the stuff that the father was supposed to give to me, I went to go search that within the gangs. I went to go search that sense of belonging, the identity that I'm now part of this family, and the sense of security that these are the guys that will have my back. And these were all stuff that the father was supposed to give to me, and it lacked. So I went to go look outside on the streets for that, and I found it in the wrong ways. And so later I went to prison, and I didn't see my father for 13 years. Totally nothing. And so now coming outside of prison, also meeting a lot of other people in prison. And then I realized that my story is not so unique, because 90% of the guys that's in prison have no relationship with their fathers. And sometimes you will have a father, you will have a son, a father, and a grandfather in the same prison at the same time, 3 generations. And that was sad. And so when I came outside of prison, I really just wanted to have a relationship with my child. And so while I'm working on the farms and in the communities, my daughter once asked me, Daddy, why are all these children calling you daddy? And in her mind, she was thinking, but you're my daddy. And she was asking this question, and I told her, because all these children, they don't have fathers. Their fathers are absent. They are drunk. They are drug addicts, and they're looking for fathers. And that made me more to pursue, to become that model, to be a father for other children, not just my daughter, but for all the other children that's in that need. And so being part of the World Needs a Father, such a special journey for me, in terms of equipping and building up other fathers to know what their role is, not just for their own families, but in society as a total. And so I love also the legacy dad aspect of the World Needs a Father, because legacy dad says, but we want to start with, we want to equip with first-time dads that was like me, that don't know how to raise a daughter, but says, but we will give you the basic tools to equip you in terms of how do you start a journey, even though your father never taught you how to be a father when you have a child one day. But it just gives you the basic tools of how to start this journey and this relationship with your own child.
Mario, this is so inspiring. I think it's a good idea if we end this conversation with one thing that you would like to tell the dads in South Africa or wherever someone is listening to this podcast or looking at it. What would you just use to encourage? And because we know for a lot of dads, the challenges are also big. What do you think would be the one thing that you would like to say to them?
To all the dads out there, I just want to tell you that you have something so special, so unique, that the world needs, and that is you. And that is to present yourself as a father, to care, to love, to protect the youth, the children out there. There's the one scripture in Romans 8 says that the world are eagerly awaiting for the manifestations of the sons and the daughters of God. And so the world out there are crying for the manifestations of fathers to stand up and says, I will take responsibility, even though it's not just for my child, but for my child's friends, but for the children in the community. I will take responsibility for that. And so I just want to encourage you that the world out there, they need you to stand up and says, but I'm going to present fatherhood on this earth.
Yeah. Thank you, Mario. I want to thank you for facilitating these programs and workshops. But even more, I want to thank you for turning a sad story into a very special story, for being obedient when God called you, and for not stopping. I know that you are very busy. I see that you are grabbing a lot of opportunities, and thank you that you are living what you are saying and not just preaching. If someone can contact you, I know that you're busy. Are they allowed to contact you, and where would be the best way to contact you?
Yes, I think the best way would probably be to drop me a WhatsApp. My number is 064 808 2951. Just drop me a WhatsApp. I might not get back to you immediately, but I will get back to you. And for me, especially working in prisons with the boys in prison, sometimes we are not allowed to go inside with phones and stuff, but I will get back to you. And I think there are a lot of workshops out there with the World Needs a Father, with Legacy Dad, that can really change and transform your lives and equip you with the necessary tools to go out into the world and just be the best dad possible and just leave a beautiful legacy behind.
Thank you so much. It was amazing to see your light shining. Thank you that you are truly a bright star.
Thank you, Amanda. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us today. You can visit us at www.brightstarlifestyle.co.za. Until we see you next time, keep on shining.